What happens when you only think you know what you're doing? On today's Wednesday Morning Drive. Hey everybody, Matt Cribbs here, and welcome back to another Wednesday Morning Drive. How are you doing? I am discombobulated. That's the best word for it. I woke up, I woke up at 6 a.m. today, and that's earlier than I normally wake up. I have my alarm set for like 7. So I woke up at 6, and then I'm like, oh, it's too early. So I laid back down and went back to bed, and then apparently snoozed through my alarm completely without even being aware of it, and woke up at 8. So it was I woke up, I'm like, what? And then bam, adrenaline, bam, energy, busted through, shower, brushing teeth, getting ready, pants, I got the pants, had to check that, but got everything, got in the car, now I'm on my way, in traffic again, which of course is awesome when you're running late. What you want to do is leisurely drive. But yeah, so it was a rush to get out, and it happens to everybody. It hasn't happened to me that I've overslept in a long time. I don't know quite why I did. I wasn't necessarily up very late last night or the night before or any time. I'm just, lately it's been really tiring, and I know, I know my wife has been having a little bit of trouble sleeping. She's been waking up late. It's much more horrible for her, but I wonder if just the motion has been pulling me out of like the deeper sleep, and that's been causing it. I don't know. We suffer together. It's the way it goes. That's what being married means, right? You take the good and the bad. You take them both, and then you have the facts of life. The facts of life. Yeah, haven't really had enough coffee. Been on an adrenaline rush, coming down, a little bit crazy today. So, and the other thing is, I usually, decide and finalize and do my prep work on this talk while I'm getting ready in the morning. So, didn't do that today. I got nothing prepared, really. Instead, I have the, half-form ideas that are floating around before I polish everything. So it's going to be a little bit of a ad hoc, as we talk type thing. So last night, I wasn't up late because I know I went to bed right around 11:30, because that's when I finished fixing McCribb's 2.0's computer, which is my old computer. If you watch some of my early stuff, you'll see, you'll hear me say I'm recording on a iMac, which is true. It's what I used for years and years and years. It worked really well for me, but, I upgraded. Video of that is going to be coming out soon, by the way. I've had the footage for quite a while, and I've needed to edit it. It's a little bit different because it's a building in real life type video, and I haven't normally done those. And I don't do a lot of real life stuff other than this, but I have a lot of footage for it. Figuring out how I want to edit it has been an experiment for me. I've been taking my time. Let me turn off the wipers so they don't get you. But I've been taking my time trying to find the right way to get those to fit together. But that'll be coming. But I gave him my old iMac, and it was set up to be mostly Mac OS with a small little boot camp partition for games that wouldn't run on Mac OS. But he actually uses Windows much more, and Mac OS very much less. So I was going to switch the partition sizes. And all of you out there who have ever dealt with boot camp and changing partition sizes are probably groaning and holding their heads in pain right now, because it's not a really great process. The recommended process to do this is delete your Windows partition and start over with a different size, which is like shameful. I mean, we've had the ability to resize partitions on the fly for a decade at least now. And the fact that Apple hasn't bothered to put that into their boot camp tools or their partitioning software, it basically just shows they don't really care about the use case. They support it as in it's built, but they're not putting any time to enhancement, which is right in line with their corporate philosophy as I see it, especially nowadays, of making consumer commodity disposable computing products at a premium price tag. We'll see how that works for them. But they don't make it easy. So I did some work. I made a G-parted live CD, which is just basically a Linux CD that you can boot from that lets you change partitions, and it supports all the different formatting options, disk formats. I forgot the word. File systems that you could be in use, FAT and NTFS, HFS plus, all the different things they want to do, and let you resize it. So that went okay. Got it done. Got the partition up, and then Windows was saying Windows is not found, and I had an install of Windows 7 on there. I have MSDN, so these are all legal copies. It's a work thing, and it's all kosher. But I had a copy of that on there, and to fix the error it was giving, missing operating system, which, as far as I gather, is because the partition changed. So where it was looking for the OS changed. And there, I found instructions on how to fix it. Basically required. Put in the boot media, there's a repair mode, you can repair it and fix it up, which is awesome, except I no longer had the Windows 7 install media. I had the ISO, but no media, and it's big enough that it fits on a DVD ROM, so I could have burnt it, but I don't have any blank DVD media anymore. But that's okay, I could put it on a USB drive and boot off of that, except the iMac model I have won't boot off a USB drive because it knows there's a super drive attached to it, and it tries to boot off of that. A USB drive, a bootable USB drive, if you put it in, just won't even show up as a boot option. So, poo, that wouldn't work. I had a Windows 8 install media in disk form, so I put that in, and it's got the same kind of tools, but no surprise, they didn't work with Windows 7. And then I thought, well, worst case, we can upgrade to Windows 8, but of course you can't upgrade to Windows 8 unless you insert the boot media and have install and are running from the Windows 7, so which I couldn't do. So at that point, I'm pretty much like, well, you're getting a brand new install of Windows, and here you go. So he's now running Windows 8. I did not put Windows 10 on it. I suppose I could have, but it is older hardware, and I didn't really do the research on how Windows 8 versus Windows 10 performs on older hardware. So I went with kind of the assumption that usually holds true, that software uses more resources as it gets more mature. So the newer software will assume there's more resources there, and it's a fairly good rule of thumb. That's usually true. So I was assuming that, well, if I have two options, I'll go with Windows 8 because it's older and therefore should run better on older hardware. Also, I didn't have Windows 10 media either, so kind of my only option. So it's there, it's all hooked up, and he's got it running, but that was actually not just yesterday, that was the day before too, getting it to work. So it works, and I wish I could have successfully changed the partition size. I don't know what step, I think I screwed up a step because I was being kind of, I got this, I'm a techie, I know how to do it, blasé about the deal, and I think I missed the step that put me into that mode where I had to run the recovery software, which was really what screwed me, was I just didn't have the media I needed. And I was being impatient. I could have picked up a DVD today and burnt it and then been fine. But, you know, I wanted to get it done last night. So that's how that goes. But yeah, I think I screwed up a step, because especially when you know what you're doing with these things, you can, you know, if you don't know what you're doing and you have a really good set of instructions, a checklist, you can follow that checklist, and it, as long as nothing weird out of, you know, as long as all the assumptions that whoever wrote that checklist are true, chances are things are just going to work perfectly. So if you have no clue, your chances of successfully doing it with the proper materials are pretty high. If you are really an expert, your chances of getting something done correctly, like you've done it many times, your chances of getting it done correctly are pretty high, because you know the errors that can occur, and you know how to recover for them, and you know how to fix them, and you know where the errors are. I think the worst possible spot is when you know enough about what you're doing to think you got it, but don't know enough about the particular details of what you're trying to do that you know all of the gotchas. So you get like, you're like, okay, read the instructions, do this, 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 this. Okay, that makes sense, I'll do that. And then you go, you do this, this, almost this, but you didn't read closely and you missed something, and then you're screwed it up. So it's like, a little knowledge is a dangerous thing. Yeah, so that's where I ended up. But happy ending, he's all good, and gets to have a brand new computing experience of the wonders of the start screen on Windows 8. I did tell him, like, oh, by the way, start menu's gonna look like this now. And he looked at me, he's like, you're kidding, right? I'm like, nope, that's what it was. He's like, I hate it already. So I might do the research and see how Windows 10 will perform, and do that. That, you know, dude, when you merge into a road, you should probably make sure there's not a car coming, but whatever. So yeah, we might be upgrading that to something that's not the magic of Windows 8, because I think everyone universally hated the magic of Windows 8. But that's where it is. So that story actually took longer than I thought. So sad when you don't plan, sometimes you come up with cool stuff. So I guess the lesson learned is, if you think you know what you're doing, you better make sure you actually know what you're doing. Don't get overconfident. Don't count your chickens before they hatch. I guess that's kind of in the same vein. And whatever you do, don't sleep through your alarm, because that's just going to screw up the rest of my day. But it'll be good. Actually, it might be a fun day, because I'm kind of goofy right now. And I know myself, when I get in this mood, I'm going to be like, let's go. So it'll be a fun day. It might annoy all of my coworkers, but hey, you're getting paid to deal with me. So until then, enjoy. I'll see you next week. Later. Keep playing. Bye.